Hey, how's it going? It's Ollie here. So I've got a quick interview for you with Angelina, and she explains how she's made £380,000 in sales on Amazon over the past year. Now, what's incredible about this interview is she didn't do this with loads of spare time. In fact, she's got two twin boys, and she's just had a new son, a third kid, who's now only 5 months old. So she has very limited time. And she's got the Amazon business to the point where it's basically automated. And she'll tell you, she just basically spends her time reordering wholesale stock when a product runs out of stock and tops up the products in her business. And that's what keeps it ticking along. So I recorded this interview at an event and I pinned Angelina's camera on Zoom. So unfortunately, you can't see me interviewing her and also the room of 30 people who were watching. So it looks a bit awkward because you can just see Angelina and you can hear my voice. But you know what? I thought I still wanted to share it with you. It's such a good interview and there's so many insights. So yeah, hope you enjoy it. Leave a comment and let me know. What was your number one insight from the interview?
Stocked it back up, and that just helped me keep it going for the moment while I don't have the time to, push it further. Of course, I want to push it further, but it's just my time is so limited at the moment, having 3 children in the house. And so at the moment, my income is still coming from my previous work.
So you did previous work to find products that sell, and now those products are just selling and you just restock them. Is that kind of what's going on?
At this stage, yes.
Awesome. So how much revenue have you done over the past 12 months with arbitrage?
Yes, so I looked back at the data and it was £370,000 for the past 12 months.
So round of applause for that, guys. Can you hear? Yeah. So these guys are very proud of you.
Well, thank you. Thanks.
And like we were saying, Angelina, it'd be great if you could come down. I know you want to come down to one of these events at one point, meet everyone in person. That would be amazing because it's so inspirational. So you've been doing things passively, not really spending. So how many hours a week are you working at the moment?
Like I have to say very barely, like maximum 4 or 5 hours. I'm just restocking it.
So every
It's
time
I try to give myself more time. I'm like, oh, I have to get back to work, but it's just quite hard at this stage. But very minimum. I would say I probably just look at it 2-3 times a week for 2 hours. Really, at the moment, it's very minimum just because of the time. Although I know I always think I need to work harder, but I'm not.
right.
But I should. Yeah.
So when a product runs out now, you're at the point where you just order more stock, send it into Amazon, and the sales keep ticking over, right? So you don't have to. So are you doing a lot of product research at the moment?
No, because of my time limitation, but I would like to go back to it because it's healthy to go through it every month or go through it every 1 month and just think about what can I add into it or what I can do to rework on it or oh, I might find something new or okay, this is not working. I need to omit it. You need to, do your regular checkups.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Adding more products to the business keeps it healthy, keeps the sales coming in, right? And everything.
Yes.
So obviously
And
you're
because things change.
things change, right?
Yeah.
Products don't sell anymore after a while, right? And
Yes. Or something happens. Yeah.
exactly. So when you started, obviously you've been doing this for a few years now, and you didn't obviously in the beginning you didn't have a big lump of cash. You weren't making 300K a month. Oh, sorry, 300K a year. So how did you get started? Let's go back to when you started arbitrage. Like, how much money did you start with? How did you get moving with the sales? And like, what was your experience like in the beginning? Because a lot of these guys haven't done a lot of arbitrage and they want to know, what it was like back then.
Yes, I think I started in 2018, and I did see your videos on YouTube, and I was interested in it because I'm a full-time mom but I wanted to have an extra income at home, and I know that my time is limited. And so I thought, oh, I might give this a try. So I put in £1,000, really not a lot, because in case it didn't work, never know. And now that I've done it, I thought it was very wise of me to do it that way, because it was a good way to learn the platform in Amazon, to learn the mistakes, and to build it step by step. And eventually, when you know what's happening and you know what's going on, you will make less mistakes. Because I think in Amazon, if you don't know how it works, and if you don't really understand the platform, you could lose money. And
Yeah.
so you wouldn't want that to happen. So I think it's better to take baby steps and to be consistent, rather than pushing it all at one go and thinking that it's going to go. I think it's better to take small steps.
Right. So even if you have 50K sitting in the bank, it's best not to spend it all on day one and pray that you're going to make a return. Spend a little bit at the beginning, make more sales. So what happened when you started with £1,000? What happened to that £1,000? Do you remember roughly how many products you bought in the beginning?
Yeah, I think my first 2 weeks was really bad. Like, I was so nervous. I went to the supermarket, I found some items, and I thought, oh yeah, this is gonna sell, because it's like one of those top brands, they should go quickly. But it took a very long time. It took like 3 weeks for me to make my first sale. And I remember I was looking at my app consistently, and I was like, oh no, this is terrible. And but then eventually it sold. But then now I understood why it wasn't selling, because they were part of the red ocean, and they're products that have a lot of competitors in there. It might be a famous product, but everybody's selling it, and you have people selling it at better prices than you could afford to sell it at. So but eventually you learn the ways. And I have to tell you, at this stage, I don't even look at my app anymore. I remember when I first started, I was always on the app looking at my sales per sale. And now I just can't be bothered anymore. But
right. Fair enough. Fair enough. Yeah. Okay. So this first week, I'm so curious about this first week. How many shops did you go into, and how many products do you think you scanned before you actually bought something?
Yeah, so where I live, we have
We're
some
in Scotland.
supermarkets. Yes,
Oh,
in Scotland,
yeah.
yes. So I live in a small town, actually, but we happen to have quite a lot of shops around. We have, like, I don't know, TK Maxx, Asda, Tesco. We've got Home Bargains and B&Q and all these main shops around. So I just went around, and I would do it after my children's school run. And then I thought, okay, fine, I'm gonna go walk in the shops and have a look. And that's how it started at the time. And I was very nervous at the start, but eventually, the more you scan your products, the more you have an understanding of how products work in Amazon, and you start understanding how the machine Amazon works. And I think if you understand how Amazon works as a system, you will know how to run it, and you would know what sort of products to work it. And I think everybody would create a very different inventory. Everybody has their own portfolio of work, and I think it's something that you would need to go into it and look into it yourself. And it has to come with experience, but it doesn't take long. I think retail is probably, you can do it for half a year, and then you might say, oh, you know what, I'm ready to do private label at the stage. Or some people might take longer, or you might do both
Yeah.
at the same time.
Yeah. So do you have any stories of any products that you found in the first, say, couple of months? I don't know if you want to share any products, but it's up to you. Some of them that you're still selling now, you probably don't want to share. But you don't have to say maybe exactly what the product is, but any examples of products that sold very well quickly, or any stories of products you found that you can remember?
Yes, I did have. Yeah, I remember one of your videos. You did say the golden nuggets. So I was lucky at the very start. I think it was my first month. It actually didn't come from me. It was more my husband. What he did was he bought a household item. He needed it, and to, I don't know, he needed a household product to do something. And then afterwards, we went to one of the supermarkets, and he's like, "Oh my goodness, it's so much cheaper here at the supermarket. I shouldn't have gotten it from Amazon. It costs so much more." And then I was like, "Oh, really?" And then I scanned the product then, and I was like, "Oh, I can sell it." And then it was like, there was a profit margin in it. So we bought whatever there was on the shelf. There wasn't a lot at that time. It was like 20, 30 of the items. So I
Oh,
bought
that's
them all.
quite.
And
How
then
much were they each? Do you remember how much they
uh,
cost each?
it was like £3.
And do you remember how much it was
£3.
selling for on Amazon at the time?
Around £19.
Wow. So you're buying it for free, selling it for 90.
Oh, sorry. No, sorry. It was not 95 because there's one where you do it in triples and doubles, and there's a
Right.
single. So sorry, the single one was around £11 or 12.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's about roughly 4 times markup. So you bought 30 of them off the shelf.
Yes.
Did you get a weird look
Yes.
from the people in Asda or wherever it was where you did this? Did they find it strange?
Yes. Yes. So we sold it, and then afterwards, what I did was it sold very quickly. Yeah.
Wow.
It sold very quickly. And then afterwards, it kept on selling for quite a while. I'm still selling the product. And
Still selling today.
but now the prices went up at the supermarket, so I can't stock up from them. But I was also lucky with the supermarket. I asked them, I went up to them, and then I told them, I was like, "Oh, is there any way you could give me them in large quantities? I would like to have them." And then they helped me ask the supplier, and the supplier said, "Okay." So they were bringing in like 500 of them for me. So every couple of months, I would be like, "Oh, can I get 400 of them?" And then, of course, it's really weird. The staff probably don't really like me because they have to bring up all the the whole bundle down and everything.
Right.
And it's quite some work for them, but they know who I am and everything. But then that did happen for a couple of years. So that was our golden nugget. Yeah.
Wow. So you found one product, ended up getting in contact with a direct supplier, getting tons of stock from the supermarket, buying boxes and boxes and just restocking. And it still sells today. Is that right? Wow. So
Yes.
you only
But
need
now I deal directly with the supplier. Yeah.
Oh, so now you deal with the supplier directly. Wow. That's amazing. So, okay. I've got so many questions to ask you, Angelina, and I don't think we're going to get through all of them. But let's start with the weekly routine for creating arbitrage income. So I'm just going to ask the room a question, Angelina. So guys, how many people here would like to build a consistent income with arbitrage just to get moving? You would like to, yeah? Okay, so keep your hands up. I'm just going to show Angelina. This is who. Can you see? I think you can see.
Oh, wow.
A lot of them want to do that.
Wow.
So one of the things that I think people get stuck on is how to create like a work week where you actually have enough sales coming in to make the income. So how did you structure your week? So you scanned enough products, found enough products, went to enough shops to actually find the stock. Like, did you have like certain things you did on a Monday or a Wednesday, or like how did you make sure you had enough products scanned throughout the week? What did your average week look like?
I won't say I'm very disciplined. I'm not. Like my husband doesn't think I work hard at all, actually. But I have to say, probably everyone knows too much better than me because I'm just. But I would just say my regular time would be just dropping my kids off school, heading to the shops, and start scanning until before lunchtime. So that would be 3 hours. Or sometimes if I wanted to work longer, it might just be like, okay, I'll till probably 9:30 to 2 p.m. and then pick up my kids and go home. And then just pretty much that's my schedule.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you've got the kids
I
off.
say just consist. So if I would say, just say maybe 3-4 times a week for 2-3 hours. And I think it's better to be consistent than to be, I think consistency is very important in anything you do.
Yeah. So making sure, okay, it's only a couple of hours, but make sure it's a couple hours, a few days a week, every week. Because then you start to scan loads of products and
Yes.
you get loads of products sent in. And then after a while, you find these golden nuggets, right? So
Yes. I mean, you do have days when you won't find anything, and there are days when you would, and sometimes you might just be lucky. I'm not really sure what the market is now like, but there must be something. I mean, yeah, there must be something still. I mean, but I do think retail is the best way to start to turn over your capital and
yeah,
to build a capital and to get a quick turnover and to learn the platform without losing money. Because let's say worst case scenario is you just have to return it to the shop or you would have to just well, yeah, you would just have to sell it at the minimum profit price. That's the worst case. But if you order something from China now, there could be a lot of problems. There might be defective items. There might be, you have to wait a couple of months. There's just a lot of problems that can happen when you order
yeah,
from China due to
it's a
the
big risk.
suppliers.
It's definitely a
And
big,
at the moment, yes, and at the moment with the increase, I think with the tax rates and with the shipping prices, you really need to be, I think, a bit more experienced in order to bring in supplies from
yeah,
abroad.
uh,
So it just needs a little bit more experience. Yeah.
definitely. It's bigger risks, right? We're talking about larger quantities of stock. We're talking about shipping it from China. And yeah, there's just, I mean, you're talking spending a few thousand to import a lot of products versus going to Tesco's, spending 50 quid on a couple things off the shelf and then making profit. So that makes
Yes,
sense.
I mean, it does, it probably takes more work than the private label. The
Yeah.
private label is more just steady income once you get it right. But at the start, I think retail, if you're a beginner,
Hmm.
retail is the way, I think.
It can
Yeah.
be,
And
yes.
I'm glad I did it thanks to Ollie.
Awesome. Love it. All right then. So I wanted to ask, so you have a load of shops in your area. So when you went to these shops for 3 hours a day, were you going to the three same kind of collection of shops every day, or were you going all over different towns, or what were you doing to get these products researched?
Well, I stayed in my town mostly because my time was limited. But if I do travel to like a major town, I might be like, oh, I'm gonna hop in the shops and just have a look and just have yeah, just have a look and see what's happening.
Yeah. Okay. So you use the same shops. So these shops constantly have new products that they're putting on the discount shelves, right? And they always want to get rid of stuff, and then that's where you come in to buy things cheap. So was it like in one kind of retail lot you looked in, or was it just all throughout the town, or how did it look?
I
The
you
shops
know
close
the
together?
you yes, you might be surprised that most of the profitable items are not on the sales rack actually. It's on
Mhm.
the normal racks. I remember I went to Home Bargains and I saw a little toy cars as well, and they were like Disney cars, baby cars, and they were selling really well at that time. And I just asked Home Bargains, and every time they had restock, but I couldn't ask them to get more, and I just got more and more, and they were selling really well. So you might be surprised by the items that are so random, and you're like, oh,
Yeah.
but this is selling, and it happens to be that a lot of kids really like them, and then you're like, oh, this is profitable, and so you might be surprised that most of them are actually not on the sales rack. I mean, I don't really think I have found something in the sales rack that was profitable or made me, I would say, that was consistent. It's usually the items that are just on the um, racks,
The
yeah,
normal shelf. So if you were to go into
shelf.
a shop to do some retail arbitrage, what would be your list of steps? Let's say somebody here wants to try this. What would be your list of steps to find a product that sells and makes profit? If you had to make like a course for us, I'm making you do my work
Uh,
now, Angelina.
yeah. So what do you mean, like just what they should do today? Just go to
Yeah,
the shops
exactly. To
and
to
then
get
just do it?
right, do it right. So what do
Yeah.
they do? So they need an app, do they? What app do you use?
Oh, yes. Well, I know that at the start it was the Profit Bandit, but I don't use it anymore. I mean, I keep everything very simple. So I just use the Amazon Seller app,
Okay.
and it has the revenue calculate. Yeah, I just use the Seller app, and I found it does the job for me because all I wanted to see is just the revenue calculator,
Right.
and
So you
that
download
helps
the app
me
and
see.
then you go to a shop. And what do you do in the shop when you're there? What will you be doing?
Um, Well, at the start, I scanned a lot of items because I don't know what's sold. But now, sometimes, when I go to, let's say, the shops, Home Bargains or any other shops, when I'm doing my shopping, I might just go to a shelf and just have a quick look, just in case I find something, even, just these days, I still do it sometimes. And you would start getting a sense of what works and what doesn't work for you, because I would say that I think that maybe something that works for somebody else might not work for you,
Yeah.
so you would need to go and get a sense of things. I think it's very important to get a sense of how the system works, to get a sense of how the platform Amazon works, and just once you're familiar with it, you will get a feeling, because some of my items that I was selling, it gave me a sense to bundle it up, and then
Ah,
afterwards I made it into a private label product. So once you get a sense, because if you're scanning all the time and you're coming into contact with many products, you would eventually come to a sense like, okay, I think, oh, maybe I can bundle this up and I can make my own listing for this and it might sell.
so you're using it
And
now as a way to test drive private label products as well and get ideas to launch your own products.
yes,
Yeah, that's
yes, I mean, it will give you inspiration. Yes.
yeah. Okay, so step one, get the app. Step two, go into a shop, scan everything. And once you know a little bit better, then you can go and zero in on stuff to scan. Step three, let's say you picked up a product and you scanned it, right? What are you looking for on the app? What are the signs that you found a product that's going to sell?
Oh, yes. So you look at the seller ranking
Seller ranking.
to
1
see.
second. Does anybody here know what the bestseller ranking is on Amazon? Hands up if you know what it is, the bestseller ranking. Can you explain to them? Because some of them didn't put their hand up. What the bestseller ranking is on Amazon?
Yes. So it's the bestseller ranking would tell you which rank the item goes into and how fast it will sell. And I remember, based on your videos, it said that you said that if you choose something under 30,000, it should sell. So so that that would be the recommendation. But I so once I see that, oh, if it's between, even if it's 50,000 under, it should sell within a month or two. Worse, sometimes it goes, but sometimes you might be surprised if you find something in the maybe 135,000 seller ranking. Sometimes when they don't have many competitors, or you don't see that there's a prime seller, there might be a chance that it's selling, because it might be influenced by the fact that there just wasn't a prime seller and people are not buying it and they're going somewhere else to buy it. Or so you have to look at also who your competitors are, how many competitors there are, and the seller ranking. So maybe if it has a fast seller, like a low seller rank, which means it will sell fast, but you have like 30 other sellers and they're selling it at a price that you cannot provide, then you might not buy it, because you can't compete with them. But let's
Yeah.
say if you find something at 100,000 bestseller rank, but then you only have 2, 3 competitors, or you don't have a prime seller, you might say, "Oh, I might give it a try." So that's what I look into.
So the more
And of
sellers,
course, you have to calculate it.
yeah, the more sellers on the listing, you have to wait longer sometimes to sell because they'll beat you on price, they'll have stock and things. So you take that into account. But usually you're looking for products that have a bestseller ranking of under 30,000. And so what about profit then? So what kind of profit margin are you looking for?
Well, usually, ideally, it would be 20 to 30%, right? But
Yeah.
sometimes you might, as a starter, you might tell yourself, "Oh, this can make me a couple of pounds. I might as well just put it in. Why not?"
Like you said, you want to practice and just get used to the system in the beginning. It's not
Yes.
just about making profit. You want to learn how to send products into the warehouse and all that stuff. All right, so you found it. It's got a low bestseller rank. it's profitable. Let's say we find a product that looks like it's going to make £4 profit. How many units would you buy?
Well, it depends how many there are on the shelf, because sometimes there aren't a lot. There's only probably 4 or 5 of them. If there's a lot of them, like 100, and they're like just little toy cars that cost 99p, I might buy all of them. But if it's something that costs £20 and there's just a couple, I might just get a few. So it depends on how much it costs as well. And because I'm not sure how it will work for others, but when you have just a budget of £1,000 to start with, you know that's the only budget you have to roll over that money and to make your profit before you roll it back in and out, in and out. So you might think, okay, I might, but I remember you did say don't put all your eggs in one basket, which was one of your tips. And so I still follow that, where just don't put everything all in one basket, especially as a starter. Mix and match.
Don't spend £1,000 on one product. I say 500 units. Buy say 10 different products and a few units of each. So if one of them stops selling, you're not going to lose all your money. Like, spread your net wide. Yeah. So you still follow that.
Yes,
you still
because
different products.
So in my inventory, I still do that now. I have a lot of different products, and I have maybe a list of products that I would call the slow sellers. I know that they sell slower, but it's still consistent. I have my fast sellers that go more quickly. And then you have your medium ones, and it just kind of glows in a little flow. So this is a good way, I think. Well, that's my way. I don't know what other people's way, because I know some people maybe just sell 2 or 3 items and they do really well. And so I think everybody's different. You will find your own portfolio, your own inventory, your own formula, but you need to understand the platform.
And also stock levels. If something sells really fast, obviously you can buy lots of units. Right, but if something sells really slow, you don't want to buy thousands of units and have to wait 10 years for it to sell. So I assume you depending on the speed of how fast, that's how much you restock, right? So you have to keep track of all your inventory and everything. Cool. All right, Angelina. Well, thank you so much for joining me. I'm going to take a couple questions from the crowd. Is that all right with you?
Yes, of course.
Cool. All right, guys. So I saw a couple hands up just now. Any questions for Angelina? Vicky? Good question. So I asked you about this, Angelina, on Wednesday. I remember I knew they were going to ask. That's what I said. So what about getting approval to sell certain brands for, I don't know, like Lego or something like that, or Barbie? Do you have any advice on how to get approval?
When you're selling toys, I did sell a lot of toys at the very start, on my first or second year, and I remember I asked one of your colleagues, which was Stephen at the time, and he gave me at the time a list of companies, wholesalers that would provide me with the paperwork,
the invoices.
And I think for toys, I went to NDA Toys, and they were very kind. They gave me the paperwork that Amazon needed. And so I sent it to Amazon, and they ungated me. And so since then, I've been ungated from toys. So I don't know what exactly the rules are now, because I know that Lego could be quite strict now on and off, but because I was ungated a couple of years back. So I'm not really restricted with many products at the moment. I would say that a lot of products, even if I wanted to add a new product sometimes, and I just pressed request for ungating, and Amazon would unlock it very easily for me. But some items, they do require paperwork, and that's something I'm like, oh, I don't know if I can be bothered to suppliers are acting for me. But when I do, you go to the wholesaler.
Go to a wholesaler, and you have to get the invoices, and you have to buy probably several products, maybe 10, 20 products from them, get the invoice, and then get ungated. So it has to be worth it. It has to be worth doing. Any other questions?
Yes.
Sabrina? Yeah. So if, let's say, you buy 20 units and you send it into Amazon's warehouse, and they all sell out and you can't get in any more stock, does Amazon get angry at you?
Actually, I do get emails with Amazon telling you to restock. They send you reminders.
They'll tell you, like,
they do send you reminders. There's a restock inventory, but you would have to remove it, because it does affect your ranking, isn't it? There's like Ali, do you know what it's called? I forgot. But they give you the numbers about how healthy healthy your accounts is.
IPI?
Yes, yes, IPI, it
So
does
that's-
affect your IPI.
If you
So
have inventory that's not selling, your IPI score will get affected. However, if you sell out and you've got no inventory and the listing's just there, Amazon will prompt you to restock. But I mean, it doesn't matter because you're actually listing on somebody else's listing anyway. With arbitrage, yeah. All right, any other questions? Yes, do it. So have you had many negative intellectual property complaints from brands on your account, Angelina?
I did once or twice. I did, but what I did was Amazon would ask you to send them the receipt of where you purchased the items, and at the moment, I did buy mine from a credible supplier. So when they saw it, they said it's okay. But
Yeah.
so keep your receipts.
Yeah, keep your receipts.
Very important. Yeah.
So is a receipt from a retail store okay for those IP complaints, or do they want a wholesale?
Yes. I think as long as it's from a credible store, it should be okay. So if you went to, I don't know, Tesco, Asda, or one of the main places, they should be okay. And wholesalers as well, as long as it's a place. And I think Amazon, they deal with a lot of these problems, and they do know which suppliers are good and not, or so they would know. I think your receipt would be good enough. And as long as if you buy, especially if you're selling something that is like a beauty product or a toiletry or something, it would be wise to keep your receipts.
Okay, one more question. Anybody got any questions? I think we're happy. All right, Angelina, thank you so much for your time today. Really appreciate it. Was that helpful, guys?
Yes.
Angelina, a round of applause.
Lovely. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Good luck.
All right. Thank you so much, Angelina. So we're going to go ahead and do some arbitrage practice now, because I'm sure everyone's inspired to go and find some hot products. So we're going to do some, and really can't wait to see you at a future mastermind, Angelina, and keep us updated with how everything's going. Thank you so much for today.
Thank you.
See you soon. Bye. Everyone say bye. Bye. All righty. Take care. Thank you. Catch up soon.
Now, if you enjoyed this video and you want to get some help launching your Amazon business, click the link below and you can book in your Amazon Accelerator call. What we'll do on this call is we'll talk about your goals first and get really clear on where you want to go, what kind of business you want to build, and where you want to live, how much you want to earn, all that kind of stuff. When we're clear on your goals, then we'll talk about where you're starting from right now. So how's your life at the moment? What's good about it? What's bad about it? What budget are you starting with? How much stuff have you done with Amazon so far? If it's nothing, that's fine. As long as we know where you're starting from, that's good. Then we can map out the steps it will take for you to get from where you're starting from now all the way to hitting the goal, right? And once we've done that, we'll get really clear on the plan for you to build it. And we can talk about how I can actually help you with that. I can actually help you research a product that will be way better than this product, right? I can help you get the products shipped from China using my product concierge service and into the Amazon warehouse. I can help you get a listing created to give your product the best chance and get it loads of sales as soon as it gets live on Amazon. And we can help you with the whole process. We can even give you one-to-one coaching. So if you want, click the link in the description, book in a call, we can have a chat. Can't wait to help you build your business. And I'll catch up very, very soon.